Hello and welcome to Opinions Plus. it's I want to again thank everybody for watching and commenting, and I haven't got yet time to get to the comments to see them all, but continue please. I will get to those and review them as best I can. Um, but it's had a long couple of weeks here, but um, you know I say that a lot. You know this, you know that, because you do know. Really, there's nothing I can say or anybody else can say. You know, you've got the internal awareness, intelligence, and abilities to know. But we get confused and guided and misguided sometimes. And I saw a clip because a lot of these things come, just suddenly I see something and I think I have to speak to it. But it has something to do with AI, but it's not all AI. Artificial intelligence isn't the end all. People have fears, and, that's what people do is jack up fears. Is it going to cause problems? Yes. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about artificial intelligence causing problems. But my concern is, well, frankly, you can't trust what you see. I saw this little clip on Jimmy Kimmel. I pronounced the name right this time, Kimmel, um, where his sidekick, Herlermo, I think his name is interviewing President Biden. And they just cut in, however they do it with their Photoshop, and he ends up putting a mustache on Biden and giving him some shots of tequila, I guess. And first of all, we've come so far that we disrespect everything. There's no level of respect, and the presidency should have respect, but that's a done deal. It's no more. In some places, we do hold respect, and I still think you should teach your children that we need to respect higher office. We need to respect authority. We need to respect obedience. But it is not all or nothing. And that's what I'm focusing on with these clips. None of this is all or nothing. You don't do this or do that, and, A equals B, B equals C. It's not that simple in life. It never has been. But if you can't trust your eyes, if you can't trust your ears, what can you trust? Again, if you can't trust what you're seeing, if you can't trust what you're hearing, because you don't know who's manipulating it or whatever, then what do you do? How do you come up with a good response? I don't think there's any clear, convenient way to do it today. And it's getting worse, much, much worse than it ever was. When I first saw that old commercial when, I don't know what they were selling, but Big Bird from, Sesame Street was on the moon, I said, this is it. We're going towards a time of non-belief. And maybe that erodes the mind's ability to discern between what is right, what is wrong, what's good, what's bad, what is real, what isn't real, even in our, energy developed society. Because there's a lot of legitimate questions out there about what is real. And when Kellyanne Conway mentioned, oh, it's just an alternative truth. It's just an alternative. We don't care. It's just an alternative. You can believe this or not. Leaving that vacuum, creating that level of doubt within a lot of people just allows for more and more confused thinking to come in. And what do? We either, you know, delve into it and find out why and do some real research, some real thinking critically and not to evaluate this concern. Or we ignore it. We put our heads away and say, no way, it's just a done deal. It's just over. What do I care? What am I going to do about it? I had an uncle, and that's the way he lived. He was suffering from edema. When I got him finally to the doctor, he lived alone, and when I finally got him to the doctor, his edema was almost up to his lungs. He could have drowned in his own body fluid. And when I asked, why would you do that? He said, well, what will be, will be. This is a long time ago. People don't change. Attitudes don't change. Humanity doesn't change. The information changes, but the way we react to it, that doesn't change much. And he was willing to do that. Now, whether that was depression or whatever, there's a myriad of causes for all these type things. But it's a gay sera sera. What will be, will be. Nothing new about it. It's a well-worn characteristics of humanity. We can't do a thing about it, so we have to just accept it, live with it, put our head down, die from it, get over it, whatever we do, but take it. My approach, my hope, my desire is not to use like Kimmel did and just make fun, because, frankly, I didn't see any real laughter in putting a mustache, on Biden and giving him some booze. But, I don't laugh at a lot of those comedians at night. But they're truthful people. They say things that are true. You have to read, their gig is to make things funny, but they have much to say and do good evaluations and do research. Some of these guys are just way off the track, but, in the majority, they do the research and they'll make it funny to many people. And if you hear the applause, if it is real and it's not canned or whatever, because it does pan over the audiences and you see them clapping and cheering and whatnot, I'm not sure where the enthusiasm comes from, but there it is. But is it real for them? Or do they just want another way out? When I go to the movies or whatever, I just want to be absorbed by the movie, and I've left this chair or whatever, and I'm into it. That's what I want. And that's important for me. If I'm paying the money to be entertained, I want to be entertained. And but if you think too much about it, you're not going to be entertained. You're going to be just sitting there criticizing or being critical of the movie or the skit or whatever it is. And I have a blend of that. But it's important to understand where you have to stop the giving in and realize that these things can have some serious consequences in our lives. It's critical to understand that. Because whether you're, if we're just talking politics, whether you're on the Biden side or the Trump side, that people are going to use these kind of things. And sadly, it's my bias. I did a clip on bias yesterday. It's my bias that I think that the Republicans are going to use it much more in all types of ways than any I've ever seen in my life. They've done it before, don't get me wrong. After the Civil War, very hardcore, during the Revolutionary War, hardcore attacks on others. Lies, too, of course. And there's no fact-checking and things like that at that time either. But who wins? Whose strategy wins? And that's what happens, and you live with the results. But that shouldn't be. We have to try. And again, it's what do we do? How do we, if we can't believe our eyes and ears, what do we do? Well, this might sound corny or whatever, but you have to trust in your intuition. You have to trust in your heart. These are common sense approaches to things. Look at the facts, and this is where critical thinking comes in. Look at the facts as you can get them. Are you going to get them from a one-liner on the top of a screen or some talking head from MSNBC or this Newsmax group down here? No, of course not. They have their own biases. I would say you have more of a chance to get something of, baseline news, from the less radical presenters. But everybody has some type of bias here or there. That's how they choose to put something in or not. They're not putting everything in because the newspaper or the podcast or everything won't sell. So please, trust, even develop the intuitive side of your emotional being. Work on it. Start to trust it more. It's not facts. You can't always entertain the facts. Look at things and say, this is a good possibility of being true in the relationship in which we live. I'm not talking about you have a teacup on. Is that teacup really there? I'm not talking about that kind of nonsense. And there's a lot of people in this world thinking about that kind of stuff. But that's not the reality. That's not the way we live. We live in a commonsensical approach in most cases. Let's stay with that. When I saw that thing, and I saw others as well, but that was just one comedic skit. But it shows something. It shows the trend. I've seen other things much more horrible. They put words in people's mouths, and it's more than just cutting and pasting. They're changing things. You can't see the difference. If you have the money, you got the good software, you can create any dang thing you want. So trust that heart, trust that intuition. I emphasize going to the good. I don't define good. You can't define good. It's impossible. But you know what it is. You know what good is. Live towards it. Live with it. Be a part of it. That's incredible. That's the important thing. Your character matters. That's the only thing that really matters. Once you have that character and establish that in your mind and you go for it, you see it, you can sense others, what they're good, Can you be fooled? Of course. So, there's no guarantees in life. But trust it. Trust that quality. Because we're going to need it more and more and more. And educate that in your children. Educate that in people that you care for. Well, it's a difficult thing to say. It's fairly esoteric, but it's there. It's a part of us. That's what prayer is all about. That's what meditation is part and parcel of. Developing the inner awareness. Give it that. If you believe in God and grace, believe it. Use it. But don't expect the answer coming out crystal clear. Say, okay, this is what I'm going to vote for, or this is what I'm going to pay my money for, or whatever. It's much deeper than that. Trust. We are all, in my belief, all have the light of Christ, all have intuitive abilities. We have to develop them. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. If you like what you see, subscribe, hit the like button, forward it on to anybody that you think might have some use of this video or clip, and be well. Use your strengths. Use your strengths. Have a good day. Bye for now.